everyone, welcome back once again to the Gran Turismo weekly race guide. If you haven't watched any of the streams or recent videos, we have a new microphone, so hopefully it's a little bit better quality for you. Do let me know already in the chat or in the comments, and I'll be sure to make some changes if any changes need to be made. But let's have a look at the race then. So in the background you can see Goodwood and you can see some funky looking golfs. Let's have a look at the race details first of all. We're racing 4 laps here at the Goodwood Motor Circuit. It's a grid start and we're on sports medium tyres. Literally the exact same settings as last week. But even so, we're actually in a Volkswagen Golf 1 GTI's, the 1983 car. So very old school. Weirdly, it's got a lot of grip and it feels like the body roll's a little bit less. However, there is a bit of ping pong in there and it's very touring car-esque. And to demonstrate that, let's jump to the race and I'll talk you through the race and also a lap guide. We are then at the start of the grid. It's only one car, so it's one make. As I say, this is very touring car-esque. You can see we are in those Volkswagen Golf GTIs, a Mark 1. And here at the start, you're going to need traction control to get a fairly good start. There's going to be some wheel spin if you don't use it. So I highly recommend putting traction control on 1. There we go. And just nuking that throttle and off we go. You can see it working away there. And then just before we change gear, we whack it off. We actually changed gear a little bit too early there. But even so, we're going to continue with this race. And you're going to see quite a lot of this race. As you can see, everyone is very, very, very close. It's a very fast circuit. Obviously, slipstream is key here. And the fact that slipstream is key means everyone stays very, very, very close. We go on the inside of Manu Gas there. And we're going to have some good racing here. There's not a lot of braking zones. But where there is braking, there's a lot of carnage. So just be aware of that. Especially the further down the splits you are, the more carnage you're going to have, as we see somebody just go off there in the distance. I'm going to try and look to get the move done on them. Look down the sneaky inside. But unfortunately, they just moved right at the last second. So I had to back out of that there. They whacked the hazards on. I'm assuming that's an apology there. Just a mistake. And we all carry on. Happy days. As we then head in towards this left. Now, this is where carnage can happen. Fortunately, it doesn't happen on this first lap. I'm actually going to go 3 wide, nearly-ish. Technically, I don't know. Is that 3 wide? In towards the braking zone we go, and I'm just trying to avoid hitting anybody there, and through we go. But as you can see, in the distance, we have 2 cars off there. Disco Bulls, and I'm not sure who the other one is. That's the Frenchman of... Oh, we got another one off. Somebody's going rallycross in here at Goodwood Motor Circuit there. I think that was Max Power from memory. We'll see shortly. It was Max Power indeed, so shout out for the rallycross in there. Just speeding this up a little bit as we go through the action. Right, here we go again, in towards turn 1. Some action up ahead. There we go. Somebody's off. That's an Italian going full sideways. Max Power's nearly off. Max Power is off. In fact, another one's off further up there as well. Who is that? That's Adrian there. And ooh, a bit of a sketchy return to circuit there. But we survive, and we're up into P7. P Steve very much in the grasp of our hands here. So once again, we head up to this gun. So you can quite quickly see here, a little bit of contact, and suddenly cars end up going off left, right, centre, all over the show. And we've made our positions mainly from the contacts that have been happening. So a little bit of contact further ahead. So we're going to try and get cheeky here down the left-hand side of P6 here. And are we going to get this done? You see a lot of cars on that radar still. In towards the braking zone we go. And still side-by-side action. Some good action here. Little bit of contact. We just survive. Only just, though. And Manu Gas is actually going to go for the buy 1, get 3 for free here. Because Manu Gas was actually the 4th arrow in that. And is overtaking one driver. Overtaking a second. And about to overtake me as well here. As we then head towards this. This is the complex section of the circuit, of course. There's a few braking zones into here. So Manu Gas comes across. Take the racing line. We're going to fall in here. You can probably guess where my brake marker is there. It's a nice and easy one. But in we go. And you're just going to keep the car balanced here. I will take you through an actual lap guide shortly. As in towards the chicane at death here. The first one. We've got 2 this week. And generally speaking, it's quite a deathly week. Is that even a word? I don't know. Anyway, we continue on with the racing then. So onto lap number 3 we go. More side-by-side action up ahead. P Tolly, P Steve, all in vision. P1's actually in vision as well. Manu Gas going down the inside of found Shelty there. Obviously, we lost Shelty last week when Shelty went to Narnia. This week, we found Shelty again, and we're on the inside then. So you can see P3 up in the distance. Manu Gas and the Spaniard, the French driver here, they have a bit of an argy-bargy. I get very confused by this. I really do, because then the French driver's going to come across, really start pushing. So I'm getting a bit worried, so I'm backing off here. You can't actually see my throttle that well because of the number plate. Unfortunately, the curb just bounces me off a little bit into the middle of the track. I unfortunately tap Shelty. Shelty then loses the rear, and unfortunately, found Shelty turns into lost Shelty again. and he actually wanted to take me on a date to Narnia. Unfortunately, I've rejected that. I apologize, Shelty. Anyway, we're going to head into the lap guide now. So this first turn, it's all about not using the brake, just letting off the throttle, let the car turn in, try and maintain 90 miles an hour, right? That's a target here, 90 miles an hour. If you can maintain it, you should have a good corner there. Don't be afraid of just lifting off a little bit. Don't use the brake, though. Don't use the brake for that turn. Now, you're going to lift off again for this corner, and then you get to your first brake marker here, which is the end of that tarmac on the right side. You can just see I've gone on the full anchors here. Now, I stay in fourth. Some people may want to go to third. I recommend staying in fourth here. You're going to be at the peak of third if you do go to third. So just letting the car roll through the corner and then continuing on the throttle. Now, the brake marker here, you're going to hate me for. First off, I'm just going to stop it here. You're looking for the white marker, but this isn't the brake marker. This is the first one. There's 3 of them. This is the second one. This is your marker here. You can see I've just gone on the brakes. There's another one just ahead, right behind the driver in front of me. So that's the marker I use here, the second white mark, and you just saw the third mark go past. Do keep an eye out for that. It's very much more obvious as you race here at the Goodwood Motor Circuit, and I do use that for multiple cars as well. It's also a brake marker here, which is just the 50 meter board, nice and easy. And I actually do this corner slightly wrong because I was scared Danny was on my inside at the time. I was focused on the brake marker, so I released the brakes, and then I realized. But you want to generally be in third gear there to get down to third gear quite quickly and let the car roll through the corner a little bit. And towards the chicane of death here at Goodwood Motor Circuit, the marshal box on the left-hand side. You're going to start to lift off for this. You don't really want to brake that much. I dab the brake a little bit here. See somebody up ahead absolutely gets annihilated by that chicane. And we continue on through. Try and maintain above 60 miles an hour on the exit. That's another key target, miles per hour there for you. An interesting one, I'd say, there will be contact here. You're going to have to be careful. I did actually find it quite fun before we ended up heading towards Narnia. But that's going to be it for race A. Let's head towards race letter B. Where we are indeed at one of the most common combos in Gran Turismo Sport that we ever feature. And it is Dragontrail Seaside. And as you can see, Group 4 cars. But we'll get to that in a second. Let's have a look at the race details first of all. We're racing 4 laps here at Dragontrail Seaside. It's a rolling start, and we are on racing medium tyres. As I say, a very common combo. You will have seen this many times. So we are going to do a lap guide again, just to remind you of little markers you can use here. The race is both a good and frustrating one at the same time. I must admit, I was very frustrated towards the end of this race. But let's have a look at it, and yeah, I'll talk you through some tips and tricks as well. Here we are then at the side. You see a Jaguar there on pole position. TX3 Jack. We've got GTRs. We've got Vipers. Aston Martins. A Lexus in there. Mixture of cars. Oh, we've got the Mustang. I found Shelty as well. A mixture of cars in there that you can pick. So quite a nice week, I guess, if you want to pick varied cars and try out different cars in this Group 4. Obviously, it's going to have some pace. Otherwise, you're going to struggle a little bit. Anyway, we kick off here. You don't really need traction control in Group 4 ever. And this is the same, even if you start at the back like I have here. As always with Race B, we're going to go straight into, as I had to check, I was in last there. We're going to go straight into a track guide here, a little lap guide for you. So as you head towards turn 1, don't do what I'm about to do here, which is brake too soon. However, you are going to look for the curb right there. You see how I've just paused here. I brake a little bit too early here, and you will see that in a second. But use that curb as your guidance, maybe even the 100 meter board if you want to, and then turn in. Don't turn in too early, and try and get round as best as you can. Try and get your tyre on the inside there. Notice how it pulled me around a little bit. Always like a nice little trick here at Dragontrail Seaside. You can get your tyre on the inside, just pull you around nicely. It reduces any understeer you have. Watch out for cutting that too much, and then in towards the braking zone here. You're going to brake between the end of the first sandpit and the start of the second sandpit. It's where the grass is there. Pit your marker around about there. So sometimes you want to brake a little bit early. I normally brake early here because I want to get a nice clean line using a lot of the curb on the inside and use all the curb on the exit as well. That's the end of Sector 1, of course. And as you head over the crest of the hill, you're going to head towards the right-hand side. And on the left-hand side, there is an orange barrier, basically. That's what I always use here for the S's. Now, in some cars, you'll just have to brake and turn in. Sometimes you'll drop a gear. Sometimes you'll just lift and let it just clip on the inside here. But generally, that's what you want to do there. You then want to try and clip your tyre on the right-hand side. Don't go all the way over. And then once again here. Sometimes you'll have to lift here. So if you feel like you have to lift, don't worry about it too much. It's kind of critical you don't. But don't worry about it. That's a bit, yeah, you get what I mean there. Anyway, heading towards this right-hander. The curb on the left-hand side is what I'm going to use here. And I'll talk about the S's again in a little bit, just to confirm what I mean there. But yeah, use that curb on the left-hand side. I'm braking just after that goes off my screen. And then I'm trying to get it really tight. And then I'm just foot to the floor on exit. Racing medium tyres in Group 4. Very grippy. You shouldn't experience any understeer. Now, heading towards the chicane of death too wide here. There's contact there. I'm not sure Vim saw Shelty there, and then Shelty just avoids that. We have a death there at the chicane of death. You're going to want to lift through there. So lift, make sure you get turned in and then accelerate through the corner. Don't brake. The Jag in front keeps braking there. It's a very dangerous move to brake there. It was the last corner, by the way, using the curb on the left-hand side as well. To start that curb is my brake marker. In fact, we're actually braking a little bit too early here, and you will see that as we head towards the corner, that I'm actually going for a move here accidentally, because they broke that early, and I was like, whoa, okay, well, I don't know what was happening here. But we continue on out the corner, and now we're going to get into this race. So you're going to see quite a lot of this race now. So this next lap is some fantastic racing. I enjoyed this lap that's about to happen. So the Jag goes right and then back towards the racing line. They go defensive, which, you know, they're picking their line here. So I'm going to go down the right side here. A little bit of contact on the braking, and then I'm like, oh, okay, let's try and get them on the cutback here. And a little bit of like... So when I talk about ping, etc., we hit them, but we didn't hit them. As you see, the Spaniards had a bit of issue there, neither Viper. So we carry on racing all the same. In towards this right-hander we go. And I do try and avoid cut it. And in towards the braking zone, and we nail this beautifully. Unfortunately, they don't. So now we've got a little bit of a run on them. So we're going to go down, or try and go around the outside here in the S's, which is a very dangerous move. However, we're going to have some good racing here, in fact. And they're going to keep that position for now. Just going to maintain that speed round the outside. So we stay line astern for now. Through the S's we go. And once again, we're going to look to see what kind of move we can do here. But I'm forever looking ahead, seeing the groups pull away here. And I'm like, no, I know I'm faster. It's towards the braking zone we go. So we're going to try around the outside here. Round the outside. Not going to work out this time. They're going to be the lead car out of here. There's no way I can make this work, so they're going to be the lead car if we go on the right. So I just lift off here. You can see that lift in there. Let them go. We don't lose any time. Happy days. That's a kind of feature here, so do keep an eye on it. They brake there, which scared the crap out of me. I was really scared I was going to hit them at that point. I would advise never using the brake in that chicane. If you use the brake, it's going to adjust the car balance with the weight transfer, and quite often you are going to hit the barrier. But even so, they managed to make it work for now. Going to try around the outside here. And we continue on. I wasn't actually trying to make a move there, but then I saw what was happening up ahead. I was like, oh, maybe we can get in slipstream here, and that will help us through. So we start like number 3 here. And at this point, I'm like, right, okay, let's do this. Let's get this done. Let's get the job done, and we can continue racing further up the field here. In towards the braking zone we go. And we're not going to try and outbrake them, because I know there's going to be contact if we do that. So some good side-by-side action. Unfortunately, slow off the exit there, and Shelty's going to have to fall in behind there a little bit. Was somebody off there? I just noticed it's narrow on the grass. I didn't even spot that when I was racing. Anyway, through the right-hander we go, and in towards the braking. And they just outbrake themselves here. So last time they went too early. This time they're a bit too late. So we're going to have another run on them. I didn't want the run here. I wanted the run on the exit of the S's. Unfortunately, we're going to have to try and make this work somehow. So in we go. A little bit of contact there, but nothing major. But at this point, I'm now thinking, right, we're losing so much time here. We're losing so much time. We can carry so much more speed through the S's. So this is where my race goes from good to frustrating at this point. And I think you'll find this experience happening a lot. So they pushed me over a little bit here, a bit unsure. I wanted to run them tight, but we continue on. And again, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to have to go around the outside. So at this point, we have a much more of an overlap here. Much more of an overlap than last time. And I'm like, oh, excellent. Here we go. So we're going to go side by side here. I was expecting them to give this up at this point, because I'd have been on the inside. A little bit of contact, but we continue on. And then they give up that position. So I'm like, finally. And then I'm like, oh, no, we're miles behind now at this point. So rip the Dhoni. That's my race end. Or is it? Is it the race end? No, it's not. So I just fast forwarded here a little bit. So they're coming here. I didn't think they'd actually go for a huge lunge here. Mainly because they were bad on the brakes. But they do. There's contact. And they definitely wouldn't have made that corner anyway without the little bit of contact. So there I was like, oh, come on. So I did give my lights a flash. And then I'm thinking, okay, we'll try and see what we can do then later on in the lap. So through here we go. And then in towards the braking zone. There's a little bit of contact behind. And unfortunately there's contact there as well. But we continue on through all the same, and it's just status quo for now, heading towards the S's then. And you're going to see the speed difference here when we actually nail it right. So they get it all sorts of wrong here. And just look at how much we gain so quickly. So this is how much time I was losing. I was like, oh, come on. And this is like the frustration of me starting at the back. Would you like to see me put laps in and actually start towards the front? Or do you like seeing this? Do let me know. Again, I tried to run them tight there, but that didn't quite work out. And once again, we're going to go around the outside here as we go through here. And you can see now we've got even more of an overlap. Somebody went left there. I don't know who the heck that was. So we now got even more of an overlap. So I was like, okay, you should give this up at this point with the lead car at this point. So they go into the barrier and then they turn into me here. They force me into the barrier technically there, in my opinion. And you probably didn't see that, but we're going to reverse it. And I'm just going to show you this. And this is a very frustrating move. So we'll just reverse it back here. And here we go. So I'm going to slow this down in a second. So you can see I would have given this up if I was a Jag at this point. Anyway, if you look here, they're going to go into the barrier. They come back on. This first contact I don't mind. But look, they start turning into me. So they force the car to understeer because they're technically doing the pit maneuver on me. As I'm trying to get... Yeah, I was very frustrated with that. I was like, what are you doing? So yeah, that was annoying. So we finished P14 in the end. Very frustrating. Really didn't like that. Somehow we get clean races. I have no idea how that works. Anyway, let's forget race B and let's head to race C, where we are at one of my favorite tracks, Lego Maggiore GP, but in reverse. I love this circuit. As you know, we've done time trial records here. We like to go fast here. You know, it contributed to one of my Gran Turismo trophies. Oh, I love this circuit. And as you can see, we're in Group 2. But let's have a look at the race details first of all. We're racing 10 laps here at Maggiore GP2. We have to use racing soft and medium tyres. They're both required. Fuel usage is ×2. You don't have to worry about that. Tyre wear ×6. You don't really have to worry about that too much depending on when you pit. However, as I said, we are in a Group 2 machinery, which does mean the GTR Group 2, which is obviously the best car, always apparently in Group 2, is the one I would go for and the one that everybody seems to be going for. Let's jump to the race then. I'll talk you through some tips, tricks, the pit strategy, and a lap guide to boot. Here we are then at the start. As you see, GTR. It's GTR galore. We do have a Lexus in there, right, Alex? We do have an NSX of Malum Tutu. We got another Lexus actually there. Alpha Racing towards the back there. But here we are, starting in the most inappropriate place one could imagine. So the rolling start here is very annoying because we're starting 2 corners back, believe it or not. So try to control on 1 for the start here. I would highly recommend if you are starting on a corner or, you know, further back on the corner. By the way, if you've got any problems with the audio in terms of this race, unfortunately the audio didn't record, so I've attached the replay audio and synced it up as best as I can. So apologies in advance for that. Now, because we're starting so far back here, about 3 eons back from the leader, we are going to go straight into the track guide, or lap guide here for race D. So heading towards turn 1. On the left hand side, you got a long little thin concrete bit here. Basically, towards the end of it is what you're looking for, depending on the tyre compound you're on as well. We're on mediums here, so obviously we're going to have to brake a little bit early, and we've actually missed the apex slightly there. That's also temperatures in the tyres, because as always, when there's tyre wear, there are tyre temps. Head towards this turn then. The end of the curve is what you're looking for, and you want a straight line brake at this point. So you straight line brake it, and then you want to start turning in. If you turn any more, you're going to go wide here. So straight line brake it. You notice how I went straight forward there, nice and easy. You don't want to use the brake for this turn. You just want to let off the throttle as best as you can, stay in 3rd gear. Very nice corner that. I do enjoy it, taking that corner. This is all flat out now. Very easy to do in a Group 2 car. No, Group 3 it gets a bit iffy, but Group 2, nice and easy here as we head down towards the Banky boys. They're on the right-hand side. Notice how the sand starts to be created there. Basically, to start that is I use as a brake marker. Some people brake extremely late for this corner. Braking late is not a good thing. You want to brake early. You want to really use Banky boy to your advantage and get on that inside as best as you can. We're in the slipstream now. Happy days with the Italian as we head over the top of the hill then, and we're going to head into quite a complex section of corners. You do this slightly differently to Group 3, so this is all flat out, nice and easy. Avoid using that sausage. Now, as you head towards these right-handers, right and left-handers, you notice how I've highlighted here where the other Maggiore track goes. You're going to brake somewhere in here. Now, I would advise braking earlier rather than later here. Really cut this inside. Don't cut this too much. And then you want to try and use the curb on the inside there as well. You don't normally have to brake for that 3rd one. However, I do on mediums initially because I'm just practicing. As you head down towards this left-hander, normally you're using that curb there, okay? But you want to get that off the screen before you even start thinking about braking in a Group 2 car. So I let it go, and then we drop it in here. You just see I've just missed it there slightly. So use the end of the curb there as your marker. Once it's off the screen, then brake is what I would recommend. Head towards the top of the hill then. On the right hand side, you've got a bit of red there. That's what I'm using as brake markings. I've just gone on the anchors here. So you can see I'm using that perfectly then. And what I'd recommend is on soft tyres, not to drop below third gear. But on mediums, definitely going to have to drop to second gear here. You're going to take the corner so much more slowly on the medium tyres. Just lift slightly through there and then use the barrier on the left as your marker. Do not brake at it or brake before it. You can see I've just started braking now. If you brake on that, you're going deep. And very, very deep at that. So just be careful. As you see, we're just getting it turned in here. And we're right behind the Italian now. And that's going to be it in terms of the little lap guide there for you. No need to brake for that right-hander, the 90-degree one. Just be careful on throttle for a bit of oversteer. So head towards turn 1 here, right behind the Italian. We're looking on the inside, looking. And they leave the door open. So we go, ooh, let's have a gander. And they leave me space as well. So thank you very much, show. As we're going to go side by side then towards the left here. This is going to be tricky to try and maintain. It's a long left-hander, and they're going to keep that position. We just understeered a little bit there, so well played. Good little bit of racing there. That's what I like to be a part of. And they get a little bit of an awkward exit here, so we're going to have to run on them then, heading towards this left-hander, and we do have to really lift here to avoid hitting them. Fortunately, we do that as somebody has gone off at Banky Boy, so we have to relinquish this position for now. Looks like Polish driver there, Jazda. Not quite a Mazda, it's a Jazda. It does a little bit of dancing as well as we go on the inside. Oh, that's terrible comedy, I know. And we're going to get this position done. I was hoping they would actually back off a little bit more here, but they don't. So it costs us a bit of time. It will cost them a bit of time as well. As through the right we go. And again, braking a little bit early here. Trying to get it turned in. We don't get it turned in as much. But what you tend to do for these corners is 5th for the first, 4th for the second, 3rd for the third. Now, I didn't mention that in the lap guide because obviously there's only so much time to do in a lap guide. But try and keep that in your mind there. 5th, 4th, 3rd. And then you should be fine. On soft tyres, you definitely don't have to brake there. It's just letting off the throttle. 5th, then to 4th, and then to 3rd. Honestly, it'll stay so stable. So you see a lot of action going on up ahead. Manu Gas had a penalty. Hunter just, I think, clips the rear maybe. I'm not too sure. So we're going to look on... or trying to get the move done. So looking around the outside here. They're trying to avoid Hunter. Unfortunately, they clip us. So we're going to lose a position here as the ice cream van is going by. So apologies if you can hear that. But through the right-hander we go. And we're going to head towards the pits here and jump in. Now, I was planning on coming in on lap number 3. But we came in lap number 2. And the time lost for the pits there. Nice little graphic for you. 14 seconds. So what you're then going to have to do, if you want to work it out on a fast lap, work out where 14 seconds is on the track map. And then you can judge your gaps accordingly. In fact, we can have a look here. So coming out the pits here, I saw all this lot come out. I was like, oh, race over. Race ruined. But let's see what happens here. So through right-hander we go. So we're about to enter that 14-second margin. So here's where you look on the map and you go, is there a clear gap on pit exit? If there is, you're on happy days indeed. As the German goes a little bit deep there. So that's one position. So that's a bit of a relief. And we're catching a leader as well on the fresher soft tyres. Now lap 2 actually turned out to be an okay lap to come in the pits. As once again, 2 more people come out in front of us. We've got Manu Gas and I think that was Willie D there. As somebody goes off and just avoid them. Thankfully, that was a bit of a touchy moment there as we continue on a bit further in the lap. So we're right behind Willie D here. And Manu Gas is side by side with the French driver there. As look at this. A little bit of contact through there. Very hard to go side by side. And the French driver is off. Willie gets it all sorts of wrong there as well. As they go, get a little bit wrong again. And down the inside of Willie D we go. So once again, heading towards the left-hander then. And can we clip the apex? No, we haven't clipped an apex so far there, but we'll carry on all the same. I was doing a bit of tyre saving in this because I came in lap 2. As I say, I was planning on coming in lap 3, but obviously the situation just led to me coming in lap 2. But it's very much possible to do it on lap 2, so, you know, don't worry about it too much. You're just going to have to look after your tyres. And the soft tyre is very much better than the mediums. As we head towards the Austrian in front of us here then. Castle. Let's see what we can do. So in towards the right we go. And they get a bit of oversteer as the Italian we were racing earlier on is in the pits. So let's see what we can do here. So they got a bit of a bad exit. Look at the slipstream take impact here. So down the inside once again. It's a dangerous move to try and do this. It's very hard to actually nail, but we do it beautifully well. And they give me enough space as well. Happy days to you. Good little bit of racing. I just look behind me to make sure they're okay. As we continue on then to lap number 7. As up ahead, we've got a few cars there. And, you know, we're moving up the grid, but because we just came in on softs. Somebody's gone off there. Oh, it's Manu Gas! Spinning off for Manu Gas. and up another position we go into P8. It was Wreckfest, would be winning right now, but it isn't Wreckfest. It's through here we go. Notice the 4th gear and then 3rd gear. Oh, I just had to brake a little bit there. And oh, the NSX is off there. Up into P7. Steve is within our grasp, but we've advanced to the final lap here, and you can see the fight for Steve up ahead. It's actually for P5. But they're side by side. So I was thinking here, is this a Tokyo World Tour event happening all over again? But Group 2, let's see what happens. In towards the break-in we go. They're side by side, so it's going to cost them both time. I'm like, okay, let's see. Lexus versus GTR. So we're going to try down and round the outside here. In towards the break-in zone we go. Unfortunately, the R4M driver just got a little bit too deep there. A little bit of contact, and we're not going to get it done. Very hard to even do that anyway in the first place, as we continue out of there. But all happy days. Coming home in P7. This race, very hard to overtake, I've got to say. And you saw quite a lot of action there with people being off. This week as a whole, lots of people are going to be off. So just be careful about that. I think this is the one week where you might have wished penalties were on. This is all about strategy, this race. So the more you're on soft, the better chance you have of winning. That's going to be it for me now, folks. Do give it a like if you did like it. Subscribe if you do like the content and want to tune in for more. Ollie's stream there if you want to catch Ollie's stream right now, and another video there if you want to enjoy anything else on the channel. But that's it for me, folks. Thank you very much. Au revoir and farewell.